retrouve pour le 139e jour de pérégrination. Bonjour. Je vais bien et on va aller à Bourg-Perché. Donc notre but c'était de parcourir tout le monde. On vient de choper comment elle s'appelle, elle. En fait j'ai appris qu'on pouvait désélectionner. Comment on fait pour désélectionner en fait? Y, X. Non, j'arrive pas. X. A. B. C'est pas B. Y. Non, j'arrive pas à désélectionner. Donc je sais pas comment on fait. A priori on peut désélectionner les personnages pour jouer avec ceux qu'on veut, mais j'arrive pas à les enlever. Alors tant pis, pour l'instant on va rester comme ça. On a pas beaucoup de bouffe et il me semble qu'ils ont pas mal de blessures. Ceux qui... Non, ah si. Elle a pris super cher, mais elle a pas beaucoup de vie de base. Lui aussi, mais ça va. Enfin elle... Ouais bon. Donc on va aller à Bourg-Perché en espérant qu'on va trouver une petite taverne ou quelque chose.
The villagers are busy and don't pay you much attention, apart from a fisherman on a boat who nods at you before returning to his nets. You can just about make out a jetty on the other side of the lake.
Parlez aux pêcheurs.
Excuse me, my name is Tungdil. Can you ferry us across to the other side?
The fisherman looks across the lake to the jetty on the other side before turning back to
Ah, j'ai pas envie d'aller de l'autre côté.
Oh, you're polite. I like that. Samuel is my name. I'll ferry you across for 10 provisions.
Oh, il ressemble.
20 gold, whichever
Il ressemble trop à
you prefer.
Sam de Game of Thrones. Pas pour l'instant, je vous remercie. Bon bah,
Well, no
au moins on
skin
peut
off
traverser
my
directement
nose.
ici, ça c'est
If
bien.
you change your mind, you know where to find me.
Bon c'est cool. Du coup je vais revenir, je vais aller tout en haut moi. Je vais aller tout en haut. Il y a pas de marchand, c'est assez terrible.
The group isn't overly friendly towards Geralda, and this evening she's sitting once again apart from the others. You ask yourself what you can do to break the ice when you see that she has a file in her hand. The file is wrapped around with silver wire and has a snap lock. The liquid in it is black. Geralda opens the lid and takes a big swig. As she puts down the bottle, a smile flits across her face, followed by a short expression of deep satisfaction. It is the first time that you have
Mais
seen
non,
a
elle s'est pas
positive
suicidée
emotion
quand même.
on the face of the somber dwarf.
Is that medicine?
No, it's... I don't know either. If I don't drink it,
Ah non c'est elle. Putain j'ai confondu, je crois que c'était la meuf qui nous accompagnait.
Until I can't stand it anymore. When I drink it, the longing disappears and I feel rested and strong.
And when the file's empty?
I don't know. I don't know where I got the drink from, let alone what it is. But if I don't drink it,
Oh ouais, faut la sauver.
give me strength. I think I would go crazy or die.
Geralda plays with the file, lost in her thoughts, as if she were trying to remember where she saw it for the first time.
Bon elle a été manipulée par Sintoras quoi. Ça c'est sûr, mais après savoir à quel point. On a terminé la quête mais bon. Allez, on va à Viranciensis.
The size of the fields and the farmsteads grow as you get closer to Ferenciensis, the old border city in the north. The old city wall is much too small for the size of today's settlement. Everywhere little cottages, and even the odd magnificent estate, extend beyond the wall.
Viranciensis. This city is home to the Grand Archive. There are countless works from all over Girdlegard here. I wonder whether we'll be allowed to go in.
Ah oui ouais.
You try to gain access to the city, but the guards on the wall are unyielding. The orc armies in the south and the movement
pas
of
vrai,
the
ils font
perished
chier les
land
orcs quand même,
has
hein.
prompted the city council to lock Viranciensis up. You try not to show your disappointment, but Boindale looks at you curiously.
Is a house full of dusty books really that important, scholar? That's no place for a dwarf.
There are also books by dwarves and about dwarves in that archive. They've practically got everything that has ever been written. They've even got notes on the races of Girdlegard.
Comment ils ont écrit
Singularities
particularité?
and oddities by M.A. Het.
A book about dwarves?
Ah oui, parce qu'ils ont mal écrit, ok.
That really can't be any good at all.
You leave the impressive city of Veranciensis behind you and continue on your way.
Oh, c'est insupportable, on peut rien faire dans les villes. Bon, c'est pas grave. Bah, du coup, je vais venir à pied ici. Je vais aller au point d'interrogation. Je vais faire ça. Je vais passer par la rivière ici.
As on the previous evening, Bavragor sits apart from the others. But tonight, he waves you over.
Smeralda, my sister. You want to know what happened, right?
You nod and sit down.
She followed Boindale into battle. We tried to talk her out of it, but she was as unyielding as a mountain. Then came the day when the High Pass was attacked.
Bavragor drinks from his liquor.
He killed her. Blinded by the frenzy
Ah ouais,
of
c'est
battle,
chaud.
he thought she was one of the enemy. I could never forgive him. He killed my sister. Could you?
You inevitably remember the loss of Lot Yonan, Frala, and her children. You remain sitting in silence, each of you deep in thought. Boendal approaches, having either heard you or guessing what you are talking about.
His fierce life forge is a curse. He thought the orcs had robbed him of his love, and the ire came over him. Sometimes he calls her name in his dreams. Oh, he'd never admit it, but he suffers just like Bavragor. He too loved her.
The stonemason doesn't react, so you and
Ah, une
Boendal
histoire
go back to
compliquée, quoi.
the others by the fire.
Ça m'étonne pas, quand il devient frénétique, il défonce n'importe qui.
The familiar jetty is empty, but you can see Samuel on his boat, halfway between here and Polbrook, and you call him over.
So, we meet again. You want to get across to
Non,
the
non,
other
j'ai pas
side,
envie.
I presume?
C'est pas
I'll
grave.
ferry you across for 10 provisions or 20 gold.
Pas pour l'instant.
Not at the moment, thank you.
Well, no skin off my nose. If you change your mind, you know where to find me.
A two-story tavern
Une
sits on the
taverne.
corner of a crossroads.
Une taverne,
The
enfin.
snow around the building has been cleared away, and a warm light is coming from inside. The sign above the door reads Minstrel Castle.
Minstrel Castle. That sounds promising.
Entrez dans la taverne.
Finally, time for ale. My throat is completely parched.
As much as I hate agreeing with you, I too can hardly wait.
You enter the tavern with Bavragor and Boindale in front. On first impression, the interior is as inconspicuous as the outside. But when you take a closer look, you spot a couple of paintings of minstrels in front of a castle, a small stage that, judging by the dust, is only very rarely used, and a lute hanging on the wall behind the bar. There are not very many guests on the ground floor, perhaps a dozen, and most of them belong to a group of mercenaries who have retreated into the far corner. You sit at a table, and after a while you are brought the ale that Boindale has ordered.
Allez au
You
comptoir
go
et
to
parlez
the
à
bar where
l'aubergiste.
the landlady is working and sit on a stool. The landlady, a stout, middle-aged woman with long hair tied in a ponytail, looks up briefly but says nothing.
Je vais lui
Say,
parler.
why is the tavern called Minstrel Castle? It doesn't look much like a castle.
Oh, you don't know the legend, dwarf.
One of the guests next to you at the bar takes up your question.
There was a castle here once. No one knows its name anymore, so everyone just calls it Minstrel Castle. Once upon a time, a king lived in that castle. He had many subjects and an enchanting queen. But one day a young minstrel came along and sang of wonderful far-off lands, and the subjects began to complain about their own lives. So the king sent for the singer to hear for himself. He came and sang a wonderful love song, and the king began to be scared. he thought that the minstrel wanted to steal away his queen. Without flinching, he drew his sword and struck the boy down. His father heard of this. He was himself a singer, and so he went to the king and played a terrible song, a curse. The king was to vanish in silence, and no one was to remember
C'est
his
stylé
name.
comme conte.
And that's what happened. No one remembers the name of the king or his castle. Make of it what you will. Story's certainly well known enough in the area to give Arin its name.
Ok. Allez, montrez-moi ce que vous avez à vendre. Oh, c'est quoi ça? Talisman de la ténacité augmente les dégâts des attaques automatiques de 100%. Mais oui, mais oui. J'en achète un. Confirmé. Est-ce qu'on a cette potion? Bon, on achète aussi. Non. Ok. On achète celle-là. Et on va acheter des provisions. C'est pas la peine, hein. Non, c'est pas la peine les provisions. On repassera. On repassera, on repassera.
The landlady as you slip off the bar stool, and she nods back.
Allez.
Bavragor and Boindil, who are absorbed in a drinking competition, have to be practically dragged out of the tavern. But in the end, you are able to continue your journey.
Ok. On va continuer par là. Une petite sauvegarde. Hop. On va aller au point d'interrogation. Il me semble que je suis pas allé là non plus, à Clayton. On va d'abord aller au point d'interrogation.
When you enter the pretty little village with its richly ornate houses and its temple to Palandial at its center, you can see an angry mob some distance away. The villagers are hassling a young woman, insulting her and pushing her to the ground.
Ouais, alors attends, parce que on peut intervenir en héros en mode oui, je suis le sauveur des femmes, on sait même pas qui c'est. On va rejoindre, on va voir ce qui se
A
passe.
man dressed richly confronts the woman.
Have you no shame? Robbing a temple of Palandial?
The crowd cheers and many vociferously demand that the woman be hanged.
You could have helped us, but you didn't. Is that in the spirit of Palandial?
You step out of the crowd and confront the priest.
Je parle au prêtre, sinon il va être... Ouais, dites-nous ce qui
Tell
t'est
us
arrivé.
what happened.
The villagers grumble, but the priest gives the woman a chance to defend herself.
My name is Tavia. I was forced to flee Tabayin with my family when the perished land began to spread. My husband, we had to leave him behind.
The horror in the woman's eyes gives you a good idea as to what became of her husband.
No one accepted us in the north. There are too many refugees and everyone is scared. Queen Way has offered land in Wayan to anyone who will work hard for it. But what should we grow if no one will sell us grain? We offered a fair price, but Father Malin...
She darts a scathing gaze at the priest.
He wanted double the amount.
The priest glances briefly at the angry villagers. Then he replies in a firm voice.
It was a hard winter, and with the increasing frequency of orc attacks, we must think of ourselves first and foremost. Even we cannot help everyone.
The bystanders mutter in agreement.
Nous pouvons enquêter sur cette affaire si vous le souhaitez. Faites ce que vous avez à faire, nous avons des choses plus importantes à faire. Relâchez la femme. D'abord, je vais les aider, comme ça ils aideront la femme.
The accusations are serious, so let's get to the bottom of the matter to be completely sure.
We have no doubt that she did it.
The priest looks at the villagers standing around him, the lust for blood written in their faces.
On the other hand, before we do something we can't undo...
Dissatisfied murmuring grows, which the priest debates with mollifying gestures.
Search for your evidence. You there, lock this woman up in the guardhouse in the meantime.
The woman is taken into a squat building made of rough blocks of stone. The crowd slowly disbands.
Ah là là, parler au père Malon.
The priest is lost in thoughts, standing in front of the temple, as if he couldn't decide whether to go in or not.
Supposing Tavia really did steal the grain and supplies, but only to save her family, would you turn a blind eye?
Palandial teaches generosity.
But that too must have its boundaries. We cannot help everyone. At some point there won't be enough for us.
So, if you had sold the grain, the people of Seaton would have starved?
Maybe not. Not yet. But if we always give everything we have away...
No one is saying always, and no one is saying everything.
The priest shrugs his shoulders apologetically. He doesn't wish to spoil things with his flock.
Que pouvez-vous me dire?
What was here first, the temple or the village?
Ah, a keen eye. The temple is indeed much too big for such a small village. It was built on the foundations of an old stronghold when salt was found nearby. The village has grown over the years in the shadow of the temple. Good people live here, honest and pious children of Pilandial.
He glances at the place where the woman was surrounded.
Why can't we just be left in peace?
Attends.
You nod goodbye, and the priest returns the gesture.
Entrer dans l'entrepôt.
You enter the village's large storehouse. The ground floor of the two-story building is full of turnips, with large barrels and clay pots on the floor and on high shelves. Several villagers are carrying out stock-taking. They're being supervised by a weedy man who observes them with a grim expression and writes things on a wax tablet every now and then. Work is in full swing. The man with the wax tablet grumbles now and then in agreement when one of the peasants shouts out a number to him. It shouldn't take too much longer until they finish the inventory. There are sacks piled up on top of one another on the first floor. They are most likely filled with different kinds of grain and, judging by the omnipresent white dust, flour.
Non, inspectez le coin vide dans la pénombre. Attention, d'allumer un feu, ça déclenche un incendie, c'est chaud.
You walk towards the only area in the storeroom where you can see the floorboards. You hesitate as your boots slip on the floor, as if you're walking on mud.
Tongue-deal.
The Magister Technicus carefully observes the roof beams above the empty corner. He grabs at a beam and crumbles something between his fingers. You can't make out what it is, so you copy him and feel damp, rotten wood. It's very easy to pull away small pieces.
What are you doing here?
The man with the wax tablet is standing on the stairs. He sounds half angry, half shocked.
No one is allowed in here.
Vous êtes conscient que le toit fuit?
The rain has gotten here. The roof and the floor are damp.
Those savages! It wasn't enough that they steal from us. They had to damage the roof too. That was probably where they got in.
The wood didn't start to rot yesterday, good man.
The steward's face turns bright red.
And you are the experts on such things, are you?
Assuming the roof here has been leaky for a long time, what would have happened to the grain in the sacks directly underneath? Wouldn't it have turned rotten?
The man wets his lips. His gaze darts around the room.
The roof was fine. I'll have it repaired. And now, get out of here.
The steward angrily blocks off all further attempts at talking to him. And even when you threaten him with Father Malin, it doesn't have the desired effect. The father trusts in him, he says, and he's always been a devout follower. The heavy door of the storehouse
ouais, je vais aller voir le père Melon quand même. Hein. Le père Malon, le père Melon. Allez, on va en parler. Est-ce qu'on peut lui en parler seulement? La toiture du grenier fuit.
Again? Morris only had the roof repaired last summer.
Did he? If he didn't, some of the grain would have got damp and rotten.
Out of the question. Morris would have reported that. He checks the grain once a month and there were no complaints.
The priest has absolutely no doubt in what he is saying. Often a sign that someone hasn't thought things over.
Oh là là, ils sont relous.
And the priest returns the gesture.
Oh.
You enter the guardhouse, and before the guards know, Boindale and Boendal have caught them up in a friendly conversation. Shielded from the view of the guards, you exchange a few words with the suspect without being disturbed.
Why did you come back to the village?
I wanted to negotiate with Father Malin for the grain. What else could I do? No sooner had I arrived than they surrounded me and accused me of robbery.
Where have you taken the grain and supplies?
I don't know anything about grain or supplies. Apart from the fact that we could do with both, I'm telling you, I am innocent.
We won't let anyone do anything to you, but if we are going to help you, you will have to tell us the truth.
The woman looks you in the face, then her head sinks, and when she looks back up, she has tears in her eyes.
Please, I just want to go back to my family. I don't know what happened.
Tungdil.
You feel sympathy towards the woman. You raise your hand to silence Rodario and nod to the woman to continue talking.
We asked for grain and were full of hope when we saw the well-filled granary. We hadn't reckoned on the malice of the people here.
A slow, ironic clap sounds from behind you. Confused, you turn around to face Rodario.
Bravo, my dear, with tears and everything. Tough luck that a master of the art of acting is present. None of what she said corresponds with the truth, Tungdil. She is lying and trying to deceive us. Not completely talentless for an amateur.
You expect the woman to deny everything, but when she overcomes her amazement, she spits in the actor's face.
And what if I am? I would do it all again. The people here have more than they need, and my people are starving. Is that fair?
Spit it out. Where are the spoils?
Ah là là.
I'd rather die than tell you that.
The woman looks at you determinedly, and neither of you blink.
Why did you come back here after stealing the grain and supplies?
We didn't steal them. We paid for them. A reasonable price, just not to Father Malin.
You had help.
He promised us 3 dozen sacks of grain. When we opened the sacks in our hideout, we realised that most of the grain was rotten.
Oh.
We thought we'd get away with it.
The woman looks around wearily.
And by the looks of things, he has.
Oh d'accord.
Morris the steward offered you the grain, didn't he?
What does that matter? I've no proof it was him. And even if I did, if I admit that we have the stuff, I'll be hanging from a tree by this evening and my children will starve. I beg you, let me go. We bought the grain and the supplies. Perhaps he wasn't allowed to sell it to us. But we paid. And with a little seed we can sow, at least some of us have a chance of surviving the year.
Ah putain, en fait j'ai envie de mettre les villageois face à leur félonie quoi. En gros, c'est pas les villageois vraiment, c'est le mec là qui a... Je sais pas comment le coincer en fait. Je sais pas si la meilleure solution c'est de la faire partir. Vas-y.
Don't want you to be hanged just because you tried to support your family. Go.
You open the door. The guards jump up, take up their swords, and let their hands sink down again when they feel the axes of the dwarves against their throats. The woman lays a hand on your shoulder for a moment as a sign of gratitude before she runs from the guardhouse.
I hope you know what you're doing, scholar.
Rodario's furrowed brow does not give you the feeling you've made an undisputed decision.
Alors attends. Non mais pourquoi je la suivrais?
Namora, find out where she's heading and then rejoin us.
Fergus wants to raise an objection, but before he can think of the right words, Namora has kissed him on the mouth and has disappeared round the next corner. You leave the guardhouse and explain your plan to Father Malin. You expect him to object, but he seems to be satisfied. You assume he'll make you responsible for everything if something goes wrong, and will claim a piece for himself if you are successful.
Ouais mais du coup je vais continuer ici.
Like every night in the wilderness, You set up camp and assign the watch. Bavragor takes first watch this evening, while the rest of you sit by a small fire, toasting some bread. You're not particularly surprised that neither Bavragor nor any of the others notice the guest who suddenly appears out of the darkness next to you.
Namora!
Fergus jumps up, and moments later has embraced her tightly.
Were you able to find out anything?
She didn't detect me and led me straight to the hideout. I can show you. It's a cave some miles off from the path. Almost 4 dozen people, men, women and children.
You nod. You have tracked down Tavia's hideout.
Moi j'ai envie de les sauver, j'ai pas... Je vais revenir là.
You enter Seaton and take a look round. The priest is lost in thoughts, standing in front of the temple, as if he couldn't decide whether to go in or not.
Ils sont tous là-bas? Non, on va les suivre, ouais, je vais aller retourner là-bas. Je vais retourner là-bas.
Your path leads you once again to the Minstrel Castle Tavern. The warm, familial glimmer from inside is, as ever, inviting. The old building has nothing in common with the castle. It seems rather...
Okay.
You enter the tavern again and sit at a free table. You go to the bar where the landlady is working and sit on a stool.
Ça on l'a déjà vu. Qu'est-ce que vous avez à vendre? Ah! Talisman de protection. Lorsque son porteur subit des dégâts, ce talisman a 50% de chance de réduire les dégâts de 80%. Moi j'ai tous les talismans possibles. Comme ça, on est tranquille. Hop. Quittez la taverne et poursuivez votre chemin. Là, ça va être utile de pouvoir traverser la mer. Oui, pour 20 pièces d'or, mon ami.
You give Samuel the gold, and after a long discussion with the dwarves in the group, you follow him onto the boat. The dwarves literally leap out of the boat as soon as you reach dry land.
Tu m'étonnes avec une armure lourde. Ok, on va se rendre à la grotte tranquillement. On va faire une petite sauvegarde parce qu'on a bien avancé quand même. Alors.
You can make out a cave in the bank of a dried out riverbed with several small fires burning in it. You don't see any guards, so you approach carefully. Men and women jump as they notice you. There is terror written in their emaciated faces. When a little girl screams and runs away from you, the whole camp is alerted, and a group of men and women step out of the cave.
Is that them? Your benefactors?
Tavia, who came out of the cave next to the man, nods.
You've led them straight here.
Who are you?
The man resembles Tavia. His face too tells of a struggle between defiant determination and fatigue and resignation.
I am Gerald, Tavia's brother. I led these people here from Tabayin.
You look around you. You guess there are about 10 families, less than 50 people. Half of them are children and youths.
Your sister couldn't have known that she was being followed. Namora has
Elle a suivi sur toute cette distance, genre, c'est un truc de ouf.
She shouldn't even have gone to Seaton in the first place. I knew that nothing good would come of it.
Comment vont... Attends.
Tavia went to Seaton on her own initiative.
Our gold was gone and our supplies were dwindling, despite being on half rations. I said we should just take what we need if no one is going to help us, but my sister wouldn't have anything to do with it. She took the wedding jewelry from our village, the most valuable thing we had with us, and sold it without my knowing. She then took this money and went to Seaton with several men. I was completely beside myself when I heard about it, but then they came back with food and grain, and I thought they had really done it.
He laughs cheerlessly and shakes his head.
For a few minutes we thought we were saved.
Ouais, je vais récupérer en fait et je vais leur ramener des vrais grains. Je vais franchement... Ou alors je vais défoncer tout le monde parce que c'est des bâtards d'avoir fait ça quand même, tu vois. Genre ils ont fait les choses bien, ils ont échangé avec leurs vivres et tout, même leur or, tout ce qu'il leur restait. Et les mecs ils leur ont donné des grains pourris. Et mon gars...
wrong with the grain from
On sait, mais on va quand même lui poser la question.
Thought we finally had a change of luck for the better. We were praying for a new start, but then we discovered that most of the grain was rotten and unusable. They'd been ripped off by the bloody steward. We all got together and discussed what was to be done. The majority was in favour of going to Seaton and taking what was due, at any price. The next morning, Tavia disappeared. It was clear to me that she had returned to Seaton. We were going to give her a couple of days, and in the meantime, we prepared for our attack. We needed weapons, and we needed a plan.
The supplies and the grain, where are they?
Gerald glances at your companions.
The grain is mainly useless. There's only 4 or 5 usable sacks. We shared out the supplies, and that'll keep us going for the next few weeks.
Donnez-moi le grain. S'il doit ramener en moins, cela apaisera peut-être les paysans. Ah mais je sais pas, mais j'ai pas envie qu'ils crèvent. En fait, j'ai envie de leur ramener les trucs pourris.
If you return the grain, Father Malin
De toute façon, le grain leur sert à rien, il est pourri. Donc donnez-moi le grain.
Gerald spits at the floor.
Let my people starve so that the people in Seaton can live in affluence for another year? No, I won't let my family die. The grain and the supplies stay here.
Gerald braces himself, placing his right hand on his axe.
We should appease the people of Seaton. Give them back half their grain.
You raise your hand to nip Gerald's objection in the bud.
I am, of course, talking about the rotten grain. You keep the good grain, we will receive at least part of our reward, and Morris will be forced to explain how his excellent...
Voilà, c'est exactement ça que je voulais faire.
Boindale stares at you.
Mais voilà, voilà, on a réussi à faire ce qu'on voulait faire. Ça, c'est bien, ça.
You see tired but happy faces all around you. The people breathe a collective sigh of relief.
We'll take half of the grain back in secret. Know this, good dwarf. Whenever you need help, we will stand by your side.
Mais oui, t'inquiète mon gars,
We don't
t'inquiète
have
pas.
much to offer you, but we can muster together a few strong arms for battle, and we have some outstanding archers.
You nod and are happy to have made some new friends.
So long, my friend.
Ah, j'ai eu un succès en plus, succès Steam. Et bah mon gars, je vais retourner chez eux là et je vais les dépouiller. Et je vais les dépouiller, je vais leur dire mais... Enfin c'est surtout Maurice en fait. Bon, je veux pas envie qu'il soit pendu non plus. Mais honnêtement...
The fishing village seems as busy as ever. Samuel, the fisherman, is working on his boat again.
20 pièces d'or.
You
Ouais.
give
We could have died.
Oh ça, il m'en reste tellement.
Your path leads you once again.
Poursuivre votre
You leave
voyage.
the
Je passerai après à Cornhill, tout ça. Là, je vais passer tranquillement ici.
You enter Seaton and take a look round.
Alors,
The priest is lost in thoughts.
oh, on peut pas... Attends.
We have found the thieves' hideout.
Really? That's welcome news.
With an encouraging nod, the priest of Palandial prompts you to continue.
Attends, mais... Nous avons parlé aux personnes qui vivent là-bas, cela a été très édifiant. On va faire ça.
We spoke to the people there, it was very revealing.
And?
The priest gives you the same look he otherwise uses to reprimand the villagers' minor sins.
They say they paid Morris to sell supplies and grain to them.
The priest wants to object.
Ah, c'est ça, c'est ça.
He ripped them off. That would be an explanation as to why Tavia came back this morning, don't you think?
The cogs are turning inside the priest's head. His expression reveals that he doesn't like his own conclusions.
And what about the grain and the supplies?
Attends, non,
have given the supplies and grain to Tavia's people. They need both more than you.
This is not up to you to decide that.
But we have decided. Good day.
You leave the village for the last time. You haven't made any friends here, but that is not the point.
Oh ouais, bon. J'ai pas réussi à faire ce que je voulais encore une fois, mais c'est pas grave. Bon. Ouais bah tant pis. Est-ce que je suis déjà allé à Colitaire? Ah mais attends, il y a encore un truc là?
You are accompanied by evil looks as you enter the village. People spit at you.
Ah c'est fini. Et bah écoute, je m'en bats les couilles. Et là ils se sont transformés en forts. C'est bon ça. La vidéo a bugué à partir de ce moment là, alors j'ai dû la couper. Ciao les amis, portez-vous bien, à plus.